Hello, welcome to HITC Sport, and alright, transfer deadline day is usually a day of panicky, desperate sales. A bit like shopping for your family on Christmas Eve. That's how you usually end up gift wrapping a chunk of Tesco broccoli for your mother. So what I'm going to do today is take a look at a bunch of deadline day transfers that involve Premier League clubs this week, and just predict how they're actually going to do. Right, let's go. Jonas Lossl to FC Midtjylland. Who cares? Who honestly cares how Jonas Lossl is going to do at FC Midtjylland? This is a Danish goalie who spent Huddersfield's relegation battle from the Premier League just unhelpfully moaning about how he was sick of losing. Well, maybe if you didn't have the reflexes of a soggy Milky Way, they might have stood a chance. Anyway, he since quit Everton for FC Midtjylland, where he spent the first 10 years of his career, so it's going to be a bit of a sad return now to his boyhood club, with rusty gloves and a crippled self-belief. A bit like going back to your ex-wife after you've chucked your career in the bin, lost all the hair on your head, and accidentally ripped off your knob in a lawnmower. It's just a bit embarrassing. Cenk Tosun to Besiktas. Again, like Lossl, here's Cenk Tosun hoping to reignite a stagnating career by making the lazy decision of returning to his former club. Listen, this man was a 20-goal-a-season goal machine for Besiktas. Before everything quickly made him a £20 million flop, Sam Allardyce was recently linked with dragging him into West Brom, but considering how much of a little impact he had at Crystal Palace, I think everyone's kind of realised he doesn't work in England. Tosun is a 29-year-old lump of grease, and after his treatment in England, I'm fairly confident he no longer has the self-belief to trap a ball. Listen, if he manages to score 10 goals for Besiktas before May the 1st, I'll pierce my tongue. Chakra Mustafi to Schalke. You hear that noise? That's the faint sound of Arsenal fans everywhere, simultaneously spunking into their socks. Finally, the curse of Chakra Mustafi has been lifted. The walking defensive headache. He's been airlifted out of the club and not just gone on loan. No, there's no danger of him being seen again. The World Cup winner is officially gone on a permanent basis. But do you really think Schalke fans will be celebrating? If by celebrating you mean crying in the shower, then sure. They're bottom of the Bundesliga with one win all season. Their defense was already wafer thin, and yet now they've just replaced their best centre back with a man less reliable than a 12-year-old babysitter. You know, the ones who'll probably end up sticking your baby in a microwave. The guy makes David Luiz look rock solid, and half the time he is a defensive brain made of pizza. Mustafi, this is going to be a horrendous 6 months of pain, and I'm going to predict it. He's not going to contribute to a single clean sheet this season. And if he does, if by some weird act of Lucifer, this man manages to claw himself a clean sheet from the pits of hell, then trust me, I'll eat an entire stick of uncooked broccoli. Jonjoe Kenny to Celtic. Jonjoe Kenny has had a weird career. For a Scouse fullback with such a boring name, you'd expect he'd wind up like John Flanagan, another guy with a name fit for a postman, not a multimillionaire with a 6-bedroom mansion. Kenny though, he spent 15 years at Everton and was loaned out to Wigan, Oxford, Schalke and now Celtic. It's a weird CV. How will he do? Well, considering Celtic are currently coached by Human Potato, a guy who walked into an invincible, dominating machine and now has them winning once in 6 games, i.e. goddamn relegation form in Scotland. And I can only assume like Shane Duffy, Kenny's just gonna lumber about like directionless, blind orphan. Jan Valery to Birmingham. I don't think it's possible for me to hear the name Jan Valery and not think of Amy Winehouse. Anyway, this guy's a 21-year-old French right back who never recovered from that 9-0 disaster for Southampton, loaned out to Birmingham City. Championship football is his level, and playing under a defensively sound manager like Aitor Karanka, I think he'll do okay. Shane Long to Bournemouth. Lads, this is an historic moment. For the first time in 10 years, Shane Long is officially a championship player. I mean, to be fair, he's been a championship player since 2015, but it's only now the rest of the footballing world have managed to catch on. Listen, I love the man for his winning goal against Germany, but even I'll admit, he's been the Premier League version of a cockroach for at least 5 years, somehow surviving in this league. Every transfer window, this guy must hide in the attic, spending every summer living off Cheerios and bowls of expired milk, who's honestly, every time the window opens, he must immediately chuck his phone off a bridge. How he's managed to survive despite 12 goals in his last 130 games? It's like surviving in a 9-to-5 office job, managing to go 5 years without being let go, when you just spend every day repeatedly pouring cups of coffee into the photocopier machine. Anyway, he's replacing Josh King at Bournemouth, and it won't work. Bournemouth play 4-3-3, with a big man standing forward like Dominic Solanke up front, meaning Long will be a 34-year-old winger. Not to mention the club are in the middle of bottling a promotion push. Jason Tyndall's just been given his P45 and told to go find a job at Pizza Hut, and if Long scores more than 5 goals, I'll eat a chunk of cat food off the floor. Takumi Minami notices Southampton. How is this fair? Liverpool spent half a decade fleecing Southampton for all their half-decent players, and in return they charitably offer the Saints a piece of bench-warming deadwood in return. It's like breaking into an old lady's house, robbing their jewellery box, cracking into her pension, and choosing to scatter the ashes of her dead husband across the carpet. And in return, you give her a mouldy, half-eaten Twix. How very nice. Takumi Minami, it reminds me of Lazar Markovic, a winger they regretted signing within about 7 seconds of his first touch. Yeah, he lasted 5 years at the club, but towards the end, he was getting loaned out to Hull. To be fair, Minamino is a much better player, and he does have 4 goals this season, so he hasn't been completely cabbage pie. Ralph Hasenhüttl, another former Red Bull employee, will breathe some confidence back into this man's veins. And yeah, actually, I think he's going to chip in with 3 goals and 4 assists. Josh King to Everton. Here's an example of a footballer whose brain was utterly scrambled by Manchester United dangling the carrot of a return to Old Trafford under his nose back in January 2020 before Bournemouth refused to let him go and they just signed Odion Ighalo instead. So being trapped at Bournemouth, it's a bit like staying with a wife who continues to drown your hamsters in the sink. No wonder he's been moping about like a drugged up giraffe in the championship this season. Josh King is what I call a purple patch player. When he's confident and motivated, sure, he bangs in 15 goals a season. But now he's nearly 30, been off form for about 2 years. He's just gonna warm the bench at Goodison Park. And if you think I'm being harsh, lads, trust me, if he managed to score more than 5, just 5 Premier League goals, I will eat a sandwich off a toilet seat. Honestly, lads, this guy, he's gonna be the most disappointing king since Cersei's son jumped out a window. Josh Maya to Fulham. Well, this was plan B. Since Josh King snubbed Fulham, they've instead gone cap in hand to get Josh Maya from Bordeaux, returning to a club he quit when he was 15. Listen, Sunderland Till I Die was entertaining on Netflix, but they're a bit like James Bond movies. Every season there has to be a villain. Season 1 was Jack Rodwell. Season 2 was Josh Maya. But listen, he utterly chewed League 1 apart with 15 goals by Christmas. But clearly he grew bored of living in a town that smells of stale armpit, and so chose to join Bordeaux in sunny France. You can't blame him. But he's got 2 goals this season. Clearly not taking advantage of having a creative genius like Hatem Ben Arfa for a teammate. He'll be a decent squad option for Fulham, but again, he's not getting more than 3 goals this season. Ainsley Maitland-Niles to West Brom. Yeah. So Ainsley Maitland-Niles is officially Kieran Gibbs. Although, a bit earlier than he'd have hoped for, he's only 23 and really looked to be making his mark on the Arsenal team under Unai Emery. Now though, he's just been binned off on loan to West Brom and probably going to get sold in the summer. Oh, this guy must actively pray for Mikel Arteta to fall into a fireplace. Great signing for West Brom, and I think he will do as well as he can. But they're not staying up. Osan Kabak to Liverpool. Right, so Osan Kabak, a 20-year-old Turkish centre-back, has just swapped Schalke for Liverpool in one of the greatest career jumps of the year. He's just taken a giant step out of a German circus act like Schalke, and now he's about to replace Virgil van Dijk in an actual title race. He's probably spent the last 72 hours kissing his agent in the face. Listen, it's not Dale Upamecano, but still, for a last day mid-season panic buy, Kabak could actually turn out to be a bit of a bargain. He won't pull up any trees, he's just another Joel Matip standard centre-half, but it's better than putting Jordan Henderson at the back now, isn't it? Ben Davies to Liverpool. Yeah, this one is more like when they signed Stephen Cocker. Make no mistake about it, Ben Davies will be brought in to warm the bench and shove Nathaniel Phillips back into the stands as far away from a football pitch as humanly possible. That's so harsh. He's actually been pretty good. But listen, 2 weeks ago, Reece Williams was asked in an interview which defender he looked up to, and here's what he said.
There's a lad at Preston now called Ben Davies. He's been at Preston all the way through, came through the academy. He's been everywhere on loan. York, Fleetwood, Southport, Newport, Tranmere. Now he's probably Preston's best and most consistent player.
Oh, now he probably wishes he kept his mouth shut, because he's just talked himself back into the reserves. Now his god and idol Davies is out here. You can kiss goodbye to your seat on the bench, Reece. As for Davies, with Van Dijk returning soon, with the arrival of Kabak, here's my prediction. Ben Davies will get the same amount of minutes on a Premier League pitch this season as my dog, and she died in 2010. Joe Willock to Newcastle. This is surprising. A year ago, Joe Willock was supposed to be the Arsenal saviour. Good Christ, anyone who dared criticise him on the internet. Arsenal fans would immediately attack you like a bunch of drunken White Walkers. Christ above, look at all the dislikes. It was almost sacrilege to say a bad word about the man. And yet now, Emile Smith-Rowe, just like he did at Huddersfield last season, he's outshining another one of the Willock brothers. So now Joe's just been loaned out to Newcastle to play for Steve Bruce. Considering the 3 Willock brothers played together in an Arsenal and Man United reserve game back in the academy, it's kind of sad to now see them scattered across Newcastle, QPR and Gillingham. Give it another 10 years and what? Are we going to see them scattered across Tesco, Sainsbury's and Asda? It's a good signing for Newcastle though, and I'm guessing he'll be one of the best deadline day transfer signings of the year. DeAndre Yedlin to Galatasaray. Just what? Galatasaray are a relatively big club, a Turkish giant with a proud history. So what business do they have offering contracts to DeAndre Yedlin? What Turkish scout is tuning into a dodgy Newcastle stream, watching them play Burnley while sitting on the toilet, watching Yedlin stumble about like a wounded duck, and think, oh yes, that's the man for me? DeAndre Yedlin is currently a teammate of Radamel Falcao. Let that one sink in for you. Comparing the footballing abilities of those two players, they're almost playing a different sport. Yedlin is all pace, and without without a defensive brain in his head. How any coach decided he was a right back is beyond me. It's like sticking Aaron Lennon at right back. Usain Bolt thought he could make a late dash to be a footballer because he's quick. DeAndre Yedlin is living Bolt's dream. Anyway, that's the end of that time in the comments too. What do you think? What do you think these players will do? Do you think they'll be good? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and as always, I'll talk to you in a while.